that there are 3 Ethernet ports. Okay. Sorry, I was on mute for a little bit. Okay. So 3 Ethernet ports that are out on the router. So what does that suggest? That suggests that we need to zoom in here. Turn the router off first. And also, everybody mute your sound. Yeah, I feel like it's a radio. Remember back in the day, you would call up KLOS and they'd say, turn your radio down. Okay. So we are going to drop in a WIC1 Ethernet. When you're ready, just turn it back on. This is going to form the core of your network. So just name it accordingly. If you have something like by default, I think the actual model name shows up as well. If you want to turn that off, you can go to Preferences, and under or Settings, it might be Settings for you guys. You see the checkbox that shows device model labels. You can either toggle that on or off. In our case, we could probably leave it off. The router is this one, WIC1 Ethernet. Yep. So just grab it, drop it into the extra slot there. Yeah, then you're good. This DNS server in Packet Tracer, the DNS service actually works. So you can build A records, and you're going to be building an A record here. And the web server on it works. All right. Let's just start building this out here. Neatness counts. So if I look at your canvas and if it's a little bit messy, I prefer it not to be. And it's the same in the real world. When you're doing network drawings or Visio maps or something like that for your colleagues will greatly appreciate a Visio map that is clean, concise, makes sense. Okay, so what does that mean? That actually means here, yeah, I'm going to be showing you it's a little bit messy, but clean it up, please. Okay, then just take the other switch here. That's B1 2960/2. Oh yeah, be sure to save very frequently. I'm not kidding. Okay, I'm gonna pause the recording. All right, so you'll probably want to label your network addresses. So click this text button that's up here. Just do network address 192.168.11.0/24. This side, 192.168.12.0/24. It's over on this side. Got network address 13.0. Save. What do you think? You ready to connect links up, or do you need a minute? Okay, so take a look at this. These are the interfaces here. This is Fast Ethernet 00 coming up this side. Fast Ethernet 01 down to the 192.168.12 network. And 13 is off of E000. So click on your connections right here. It's down here at the bottom. And we are going to select, because we're going to router to a switch, we can use a straight through cable. Straight through cable. That's this right here. Oh, and you probably want to do that multi-select, so hold down Control, and then click that straight through cable there. And you'll see it, copper straight through. You see the description right down there at the bottom. Okay, so F00, just touch the 1841 router, and look, you have three interfaces, F00, 01, and Ethernet 000. Click the one that's 00. And yeah, that's fine. Just connect it to the gig port. That's fine. Either one's fine. We're only working with single VLAN through the entire class, so any port's really fine. Okay, F01. F01, just touch the router again. Select F01. Go down to the other side here. And 000 goes down to this side. Okay, cable up your host on the B12960, first one. So take that first port there, go to your DNS server. Second port goes to your host. Okay, switch to switch. Just pick your gig Ethernet ports. Let's connect those up. And a connection to your host.
So, is it from that or just with the so is it connected or fast?
It doesn't matter, whichever. So single VLAN, it's all okay. Yeah, so don't get caught up if, oh, I didn't connect it to the wrong, that's okay. We're good. So cool, just replicate this now the other 2 times. So let's also label each host. Subnet mask, default gateway. The default gateway, we like to call that your front door. If you don't know the address of your front door, you're not getting out of the house. So yes, we are even configuring interface VLANs or management IP on every switch. So there's the topology. Just make it look better than mine. You can't even do this. You can't even drop in colors. Here it is. Separate your segment out like that. It's up to you. I'm just giving you ideas. So these hosts, these PCs, you can configure the IP address on them too. So just click on a PC, go to desktop, and IP configuration. And check that out. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. And then the DNS server 192.168.11.200. Okay, and when you're done, you can always run the ipconfig command or ipconfig all. Okay, so replicate that 5 times. So you probably even want to copy that DNS address. Then you could paste it in those other 5 times. Okay, this is PC2. For your DNS server, we need two services on. One is HTTP, which should be on by default here. The other one is DNS, and that's off by default. So click on to turn the service up. And according to our lab here, we need to have a friendly name in FQDN. We need to have that resolve to 192.168.11.200. So we'll click add, and that should update it. So how could we test this? Since this DNS server here is connected to a switch and that PC is on the same network and it's also up, we should be able to go to PC1 on B1, branch 1. Let's ping that address, 192.168.11.200. And I will guarantee you this. By the time you're done with CIS41 and 42, nothing will make you happier than seeing ICMP echo replies. You laugh, but you think I'm joking. So yes, pings work here. It's on the same subnet. We ping that host ID. But now we can fire up a web browser and we can go www.abc.com and look, oh, hey, wow, awesome. We get the splash page there. So if you're really fancy, you could even do this. See the indexed HTML? You can edit it. Okay, just do save. So yeah, just edit that name and select go again. Yeah. There, you've just modified a splash page. So, since PC2 is on the same network segment here, branch 1 PC2 better be able to ping that DNS server. Okay. So local subnet, great. What happens if we want to get to some of these other segments? We're going to need to configure that router now. So I'm going to configure at least one interface on the router first, and then configure the two switches, the management IP there. So router 1. Okay, type enable. That gets you from regular exec mode to privilege exec. Privilege exec looks like a hashtag there. So the way to get into global configuration now is called config T, config terminal. Okay, so from here, you have a whole host of information that, or commands that you can do. Chapter 2 will go over this more, but I'll just help you get through this. First thing we want to do is change the host name. So you do host name. Okay, that changes the host name there. Okay, now it says we need to change F00, interface F00. And you can also get a what kind of interfaces are enabled here, or that your device has, by doing show IP int brief. So you're going to run into this a lot. So you're in global config, but you want to execute commands that are from privilege exec. So you just do a do command in front of it, and it'll work. So any of your show commands, it'll work. All right, interface F00, let's give it a description. Link to branch 1. IP address 192.168.11.1. Configure the subnet mask right after it. Okay. Don't forget to activate the interface. You activate the interface by doing no shutdown. Okay. So if you take a peek back here, you see your link coming up now. Awesome. So if you want to save your running config to startup config so that if the power dies, either administratively or natural yeah, disaster or something like that, just copy running config to startup. It'll confirm the name. Just hit enter. So now when you reboot your router, for whatever reason, it'll save your running configuration the way it is, and it'll be good. You won't have to reprogram it again. So that's how to do one of the interfaces. You get to configure the other two. I'll leave that for you. Here's the other one. Okay, enable telnet connections on each Cisco device. So this is going to be on the router and it's going to be on the switches. So get back into config T. These are your VTY lines. 0 through 4, 0 is a value, so you have 5 virtual terminal lines. And those terminal lines you can configure for telnet. So just do password Cisco. Every single password that you configure on this lab is going to be Cisco. Okay, that makes it easier for everybody involved. Do password Cisco, type login, and transport input telnet. Okay, so that was number 6 on your lab there. Number 7, enable a console password. Line console 0. And it's the same thing, password Cisco and login. You probably even want to do this, log sync. You'll thank me later. Because what happens with logging synchronous is you are not interrupted by a system logging message when you're in the middle of typing something. Okay. Well, that's how to do one interface. That's how to configure your line in your console here. What does that actually mean? What does that actually look like? So when you do exit from your router here, you're brought back to your regular screen here. Now you're prompted for a password. Okay. Number 8, enter a privileged password on each Cisco device. So maybe you have a managed service provider and you're only giving them access to do show commands, right? You don't want them to be able to go to privilege exec like this. So put a password on it. Config T, enable secret, Cisco. So what happens then is now when you type enable, you're prompted for a password now. Okay, so each switch should have the enable secret as well, and a console password, and then V2Y passwords too. Okay, show running config. That gives you an idea of what's configured on your router. Okay, cool. So how do we configure a switch? So let's go to this 2960 on branch 1. We see this is the IP subnet mask and the default gateway. Well, first thing, we got to change the host name. Host name, B1, 2960.1. Okay, enable secret is Cisco. And on switches, many times they give you 16 lines, 16 VTY lines. Line VTY 015. Okay, password Cisco, do login, then transport input telnet. Line con 0, drop a password there too. Type login. And the last part of this, then we can go home. Interface VLAN 1. Interface VLAN 1. Here, you can drop an IP address on. And that should be IP address. Don't forget to do no shut on your, after you configure an IP address. So just like a host, you need the address of your front door. You need the address of your front door or else you're never getting out. So it's IP default gateway. Okay. Great. So how do you verify that now? Do a show IP routes or, yep, can't do it from 2960, so we could do show run, that's fine. You see interface VLAN 1 here with the IP address and the default gateway. So what does that mean? Means we should be able to ping around now. Yep, you'll lose the first ping. You'll lose the first ping, that's okay, because that's your ARP cache being built. That's your address resolution protocol. Matches up IP address to MAC address. Okay, yeah. Sure. So config T, IP default gateway. So there's your front door. So how do you test telnet then? So this was 11.11. So you can just go to one of your PCs, go to your command prompts, Let's do telnet 192.168.11.11. Password is Cisco. Enable is Cisco. And now you can remotely destroy the switch. Don't worry, it's due tomorrow. Okay. Any questions? Yep. Yeah, so make sure everything works, make sure everything pings, and submit it, right? So when you submit it, I do check it. It's a manual process, okay? Every mistake, 5 points off. If something doesn't ping, 5 points off. If an interface is shut down when it shouldn't be, 5 points off. Right? It adds up quick. Okay, how's that? All right. I'm going to stop the recording then and get it uploaded. All right.